Welcome to part 2 of my experimental attempts at switching between lithium and lead acid batteries using the low voltage alarm on my Victron inverter. Now it's the same setup as before. Got the kettle, 2000 watt kettle, 700 watt heater, only this time I've got two battery switches. I'm going to change over manually when the low voltage alarm comes up. I've disconnected the diode as before, and I've disconnected from the contactor I was using before. So it's me going to be doing it manually. So when the low voltage alarm comes up, I'll switch in the lead acid, which is that one, and then I'll switch off the lithium, which is what I was wanting to do before but couldn't do with that contactor. Still haven't found a contactor that could do that automatically, but I'll keep looking and I'll figure something out eventually. I just don't want it to be too complicated. I've also got the lead acid battery meter as well. I'm not entirely sure about the accuracy of some of these devices right enough, but let's set it going anyway and we'll see what happens. Right, there's very little load on the inverter at the moment, and there's about 3 amps coming in from the solar. So let's switch the kettle on, give it 2000 watts or thereabouts. So it's come up low battery alarm, so I'll switch in the lead acid and I'll switch off the lithium. It's dropped to 0. So we're getting about 95 amps out of the lead acid, which is exactly what I was wanting. Let's bring on the heater as well. Now it's now saying 140 something. I don't think that's totally correct right now, but the voltage is under 24. I'll put that off, the heater off, because it's coming up overload as well. So let's put the kettle off. The low battery might take a wee bit longer to disappear because the lead acid is slightly lower voltage and it will take a wee while to come back up. Still waiting for it to come up. I could set it at a different level, that might work better. Let's set it, let's bring in the lithium and I'll drop out the lead acid and the low battery is going. I'll try setting this at a different level and we'll see what happens. Right, I've set the low battery at 25.3 this time, so we'll give that a try. So I'll bring in the kettle. Low battery, so I'll switch in the lead acid and I'll switch out the lithium. It's staying on low battery because the voltage is lower on the lead acid. And we've got the 96 amps coming out of lead acid. So let's put the kettle off and see how long it takes to come back up. It's climbing. And I'll change it back manually when we get out of low battery alarm. There we go. So I can switch on the lithium, switch off the lead acid. So if I can get this voltage set at the right level, it might just work quite well. There could be problems depending on the charge level of the batteries right enough, but it's, I think, worth experimenting with some more. I'm going to try this again just to prove that it actually works. So bring in the kettle. Let's give 2000 watts. Low battery alarm, switch in the lead acid and switch out the lithium. Let's just let the kettle boil. A proper duration for the test. Now, what's our voltage going to do? It will come out of low battery alarm at 25.3. So, switch in lithium and switch out the lead acid. And that's us back to where we started. I made an error during those experiments. There's actually a second set of lithium cells that I neglected to disconnect for these tests. In the first video that I did, they were disconnected, so it was only the lithium cells that you could see. In this second set of tests, as I say, I forgot to disconnect them, so that explains why when it was on lithium, the kettle was only drawing about 40 something amps, but when it went on to lead acid, it looked like it doubled. But it hadn't. It was just, when it was on lithium, there was actually a second set of cells feeding, and I was only monitoring one of them. So that explains the discrepancy there. I'm still not very sure about the accuracy of some of those devices, especially the lead acid shunt that I was using. When it heats up, I think it's losing accuracy. I think it's showing more when it was up at 145 amps. I don't think there was 145 amps going into the inverter at all. But that's worked well. The switches give me the option to change manually, which I want to keep, but I still want to do an automated changeover with a contactor, which I will work out. You could do it with 2 contactors and some relays and timers and things like that, but that is getting far too complicated. I want to keep it as simple as possible. So as far as I'm concerned, the more complicated a system is, the more chance there is of something going wrong. So I will continue to hunt for some sort of suitable contactor, and I will hopefully get back and do a part 3 video. You can see it working automatically. So please subscribe if you haven't already done so, and thank you for watching.